Bear with me. Hi there, how's it going? It's been a while since I've done a video. Don't get a lot of spare time nowadays, but I got a day off today, so I thought I'd be wanting doing a video for this. Sorry, let me turn that down. For this course for the last couple of weeks, because even though it's a 9-hole course, it was for the Pandora contest. But even though it's only 9 holes, I spent so long with the peripheral stuff more than anything. Which was really fun. It's cool, and I just kind of want to show off a few of the things I've done and add a little bit to the to sort of my concept, what I wanted to sort of achieve with the course itself. Now obviously it's a Wild West theme, so it's not very realistic. At the end I kind of got this Scottish theme that makes out this some kind of Scottish settlement from the mid 1800s, and they brought golf to the Wild West, that kind of thing. But obviously with the you're not going to be able to build a golf course back then with no irrigation, so we'll ignore that. And like I said, I'll just show you a few of the things. Obviously back in the mid 1800s, it would have been they would have been using hickory clubs and all that, so every hole on here is pretty much reachable with a drive. I think maybe 1 or 2 that are not. But to go for the green is pretty risky, and like I said, the old hickory clubs would have hit the ball the same as probably I don't know, the hybrid I got now, or like a 3-iron or something. So the idea was to take a driver out your hands and play the course. It was difficult to play, which hasn't quite worked out like that, but it was difficult to play because of that, you know, with just irons sort of thing, just using irons, which would have been a hickory driver or whatever. Anyway, so that was the first idea. And also, like I said, if you look up here, there is a chance to go to the green, but you could ping off anywhere. And also up the right there, I got that out of bounds. That's supposed to be a gulch there. I don't really know the geological formation of gulches, or obviously it's water based or whatever, but what forms them I don't know, but I just know it from Red Dead, for the Sidewinder Gulch I think it was called. So I kind of added that, and you know, if you're going to go for the green here, you can't go anywhere to the right, so little things like that, and that's kind of a characteristic all the way round. Like I said, the idea of bringing this old course into the modern technology, but still being a challenge, because even though you know, because you've got to use irons kind of thing. So that was one thing. Also, there's no bunkers. I've wanted to build a course where, for a long time now, with no bunkers. Very difficult to do 18 holes as like a parkland course or something by doing that, but I've managed to do it with 9-hole short course anyway. So, but I don't really know why I'm not a big fan of bunkers. I think they're overused, I guess, or maybe it's just I'm not particularly. I'm more comfortable using undulations and stuff for in the landing areas for the sort of strategic element rather than bunkering. So maybe it's a weak spot on my designing, one of many, because it's such a short course. Even with the irons or the hybrids, I mean, if I knock one up here now, actually I'll show you. Obviously I got the T markers there, pretty cool. But little things I've tried probably more now than I've ever done. I try my best to build decent courses, but I concentrate a lot on the surrounding environment. More out of joy, to be honest. You know, taking away the if you get a bit bored of designing it, it's nice to try new things out. And again, I'll explain later, but bringing that element into it, using the tools and stuff, I've done that on this course more than some of the 18-hole courses I've done. But you take that path, for instance, all the way around it, they're sort of built up, and that's kind of giving the impression that it was sort of carved out, and the spoil that they dug it out with that's what the mounds are, and that's obviously, building with shovels. That most sort of terrain features or whatever would have been done like that. Bunkers, for instance, back in the old days, they would have dug the hole and used the spoil for the face of the bunker. Greens, even, they would have marked out where the green was going to be, dug all around it to use that soil to build the green up, to actually hold moisture more than anything. So it appears sat up, but it's more done to hold moisture in the greens, where nowadays you want the opposite. You want sand-based, good drainage. But back then they had no irrigation, so they wanted the clay to hold the moisture or whatever. So I've kind of done that. I tried to make it look as if it's been built and carved out by hand out of the desert. Like I said, golf course in the Wild West in the 1850s, it wouldn't have happened. But that's one of the reasons I've only got a slither of heavy rough there. Like I said, it's such an easy course to play. I needed that protection of, because even if you were in the light rough, say, you would have had a pitch in, it would have been quite easy. So by only having this generous fairway here with the iron, when you hit an iron, it's generous fairway, but having that heavy rough, if you do miss it, or you try and go a bit further and miss it and end up in the desert, then you've got a tricky shot. So that's the only defense I had. I know a few people have said, oh, rough, but it's a 300-yard hole, par 4, so if you're still going to have a pitch in anyway, it's not going to be difficult even if you did miss. But that was about the only defense I had, and I've sort of scattered these rocks about as well, so if you do miss, you might be behind one of them. A bit of defense, really. I was contemplating using light rough for the fairways as even more of a challenge, and more, if any realism, more realistic, because you wouldn't have had mowers back then. They would have, back in Scotland, say, when golf first happened, they probably wouldn't have had fully defined fairways. It would have just been, the sheep graze the grass and you hit it wherever. So I thought, well, if I brought light rough, it would work quite well, but I just didn't really go for it in the end, because I didn't think anyone would appreciate it, sort of thing. So okay, I didn't save I was going to play that first hole, but I forgot to save it, so we'll do it on this hole anyway. Like I said, a bit like the second hole, you're going to have a go at the green, but again, there's lots of danger about, say, OB to the left and the front of the green. Again, lots of stones in the landing areas. Gone to town on that, even up the greens, so you might be pinging off, and the greens again heavily undulated. It's the only real defence. What else we got? Right, a few of the little features I've done. You can see to the left there, a grave, sort of an old mine there, even some shovels, some picks or whatever. Did I do a pick? No, just shovels. Little fire there with it, even got a bit of wood in it. Again, my path as well, build up. But yeah, just little things. Like I said, one of the reasons I went for that Wild West sort of theme was because I could use stones and wood, the posts and stuff, and it's kind of realistic in this environment, where trying to think of something in modern day. I saw someone like in Africa doing huts. I did it with my Bora Bora course, actually. I did a few sort of huts and all that, which weren't great, but I thought that's one thing you can use. Back then they would have, everything would have been built with sort of rocks and wood and stuff. So I really enjoyed doing that. Let's have a crack at this screen. I missed the first by miles anyway, so I'm glad I didn't save. But well, this might not be too bad with that wind. Well, when you hit it like that, it's the rock. No, quite lucky there. Just one more thing. Obviously inside the kind of line of play of the hole, I've got plenty of grass, rocks, and the odd tree and bush and stuff. But when you back off from, certainly with desert courses, it looks very bare. So, and if you go planting grass and small sort of bushes and all, you don't really see them from far away, so it looks pretty empty. So one thing I try and do, and you've only got to do a couple, there's no point messing around too much with it, but you see up on the hills there, I just made bushes a bit bigger in the odds, scattered about. It just makes it look a little bit more realistic. I think with this as well, I tried to mirror, you see there, I wouldn't say mirror it, but I've tried to make it look as if it's part of the mountain range. Because if these would have been quite low, it looks a bit out of place. Like over there, you've got the sort of plains, and then the mountains. But over this side, it sort of blends into the background, I suppose. So it almost looks a bit more better. I think this might have been my favourite hole when I was doing it. See on the left there, I got my little wagon. Little things like that. It was so much fun trying to think of things, and I wouldn't have been able to do that with modern courses, you know. So that was kind of the appeal of it. Again, another reachable par 4, but lots of danger if you do miss it. That's OB to the left, is it? Yeah, with that sort of road going up to, I may as well show you from a distance, the old Wild West town up there. I won't go too close with this wagon, but I've even put a man on there, Rockman, which is a bit sad, I know. I'm trying to, you know, the bins for barrels and signs for wheels and stuff like that. I'll have one more go at it, and then this is obviously going to go way too long. I just can't. I suppose if I dropped the player clubs it might help, but I just can't. Maybe I need a new pad or something, but. Okay, moving on, number 4. I'll go through these quickly now. I'll just point a few. Said that twice now, haven't I? Not so reachable, that one. Up ahead, look, I got my little Indian reservation. Pretty shocking wigwams, or teepees, as they're called. That was just a quicker way of doing it. Don't go in too close. I actually tried using, if you go in the furniture, I think it's patios, and there's just the umbrella on its own, and it's like this white colour, which is like the sheeting you naturally see on TPs, and I actually started doing lines of them, and it was just taking so long. I was like, what am I doing? So I just went with that, something a little bit different, and that there is a labyrinth, if you know what they are. Apparently if you follow the walkway to the middle and back out again, it brings you good luck. I went to one years ago in, I think it's near Fort Apache or wherever that area, without sounding too disrespectful, but it was, I walked to the middle and it took about 5 minutes and I just hopped out, so probably brought me bad luck, if truth be told, but I'm not sure with the horse, and that's supposed to be like the, you know, Indian kind of lance or whatever. Anyway. Again, go for the green, to your left. Big old drop there out of bounds. And in these landing areas, if you don't try and take a bit too much off, you've got a bit of rockery, which will catch you out. I don't think there's any way I'm making that as a... I'll play the normal way. That's my little oil. I didn't go too much to town with that. I could have gone a bit more with it, but like I said, I kind of knew that these things wouldn't get seen really. You know, you tend to just play the course head down a lot of the time, but oh my god, see, I can't even hit the fairways with irons. I nearly hit the TP on the last hole, or the hole before. I managed to get my light in pretty good, considering it was I I like to build my courses with the routing going all different ways just for the wind and stuff, and sometimes it can be quite awkward with the lighting, but because it was only 9 holes, I guess I seem to get it pretty good. That's my oil thing. Not the best. Again, though, I said it's just using the tools available to do things like that, and work well for this sort of theme. This was one that was pretty easy to go at one. Oh dear. Right, let's get a move on. It's something I want to show you before I get to the end on this hole. I thought it was pretty cool. Simple to do and all. But again, I doubt anyone has noticed it. You could say it's like Marsden or the Lone Ranger. That's actually a bin on that horse. Pretty fat cowboy. That's I don't know if you've played Red Dead, but that's supposed to be Pike's Basin in there. It's a nice hole. I don't think I've tried to go at this hole in one. I'll have a little crack in it now. The best layup is actually up here. If you try to bury it down there, then you're in a bit of wobbly terrain. Let's have a go at the green as a. Get lucky. Hey, not bad. Whoa, what was that? Ah. Eagle? Yeah. Right. One more. The Coupe de Grace, is that the right word? Of the course. Again, my path there all winding its way through the desert. That bit at the front of the green there was actually back. I haven't touched that. That's I think I added a bit of grass, but I was kind of I looked up and I wanted the hole there, the green there, and I just kind of left that in. So that's completely natural there. That's not on the right there, but yeah. So this is my little town. Got some rail tracks. That's been done before, but I think it looks quite good. I wanted to put like the old stop sort of signs and stuff, and I nearly tried to build a water tower, but I left it all that. I left it pretty simple. My flags are my favourite. Luckily, the obviously don't go in too close. It's pretty bad, but again, look, Scottish, American / Scottish settlement, or Scottish settlement in America, be better. There's a saloon over there, even with the doors, a wagon. Saloon there, the doors, sliding doors, a corral over there, and then I just use this kind of building. I haven't finished it off over there. Look, you can't really see it, and I've just put the I messed that one up, didn't I? There we are. Just cover them around with the fence panels, and again, if you don't go in too close to that, it looks pretty cool. The skulls on the top, entering Blackrock County. It actually says keep the cart parts off the path. So there we have it. Say enjoyed doing it. A little cool little course to my collection, and yeah.